CJ, you woke up late, didn't you? CJ also said yes to the poll.
Ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago.
So let's where's Dorothy? Is Dorothy there?
All right, so we had our poll this morning was
Hold on.
Recording in progress.
Let's say good morning, to my guest online. Good morning, my guest.
Yeah.
Good morning, Commissioner Jacobs. How are you this morning?
Well, I am okay. I am okay.
First day of leave.
Yes, I'm on some well-deserved leave at this point in time.
All right. Well, this morning we had a poll. Let's get the results. We asked you, Richie Rich.
do you approve of the Commissioner of Police acting going on leave at this time? We had 23 people voting in the allotted time. Of the 23 people, 14 of you said yes, 9 of you said no. It was pretty competitive at certain points where it was kind of equal and running head on. But the yeses eventually went ahead. So of the 23 people who voted in the 5 minutes that we had, 14 of you said yes, 9 of you said no. Of course, you can continue to vote on this poll throughout the day, throughout programming, and we'll give you the final results at the tomorrow morning, which
tomorrow morning, yeah. So what are you doing today? Going for bacon shack, maracas? What are you doing?
This work is so sort of onerous. In spite of you're going and there are residual things that you need to deal with. So right now I'm just dealing with those residual things to ensure that things go well. So in spite of being on starting negotiation leave today, there are things that I need to tie up and hand over to the ECP who will be taking over. So in spite of being on leave, you just need to spend a few more hours just to tie up things. I wanted to ensure I get a good night rest, so I left some things for this morning just to sit up and finish it up, and then I'll hand it over.
Yeah. But the poll would have come across, Commissioner Jacob, because of the issue of the record number of murders. I'm sure you're privy to social media and commentary. You could try and turn it off, but it's always all around you. Especially for the position that you hold, there will always be people that comment on either side of the divide with regard to your actions. Mm-hmm. So even your leave came under scrutiny, with some people saying, well, yes, you're a human being, you're entitled to your leave, you are entitled to take leave and to rejuvenate, so to speak. And there's the other side of the coin where some people are saying, well, we had a record high. Is it a crisis? And some people construe it as a crisis because we had a record high murder rate. And is it an appropriate time for you to go on leave? How do you respond to that side of the argument?
No, well, it has been going nearly into 2 years now since I came out of some vacation leave. 2 years ago, I haven't taken any vacation leave. And with the intention to take leave during the course of this year, it was very, very difficult. The question is, we are dealing with our onerous task, and the question is, at what stage of the game can you really take that leave? When we accumulate leave, we cannot, especially at our level, we cannot accumulate too much leave. We have to go on leave, and the question is, when I will be taking the leave? If you go back to the past, you will see some of the former commissioners during the year, they will be taking probably a 2 weeks leave, a week leave, and at the end of it, they will cover the 35 days. But unfortunately, because of the situation where I had the situation that I hardly at any time had any full DCPs. I never had 3 DCPs with me. At times I had 2, at times I had 1. It was very difficult.
Yeah. Can you not meaning to interrupt you, Commissioner, but can you clear it up in terms of how much leave you could accumulate in that position, because I know in the rest of the public sector, it's 90 days that you can accumulate, and any beyond that, you start to lose leave. But I know the security services operate on a different trajectory with regard to leave, because sometimes you hear people in the security services on 2 years leave, they have accumulated so much leave because of overtime, etc., etc. Is it that the Commissioner of Police, the post itself, has a definitive amount of leave, and beyond that you start to lose it?
No, you don't really lose it, but there are the rules that they don't really want you to really accumulate more than your 35 days per year. And they will want you as the commissioner in holding that position like that, and even the DCPs to be, in between taking your leave, so you wouldn't have an absence of the commissioner or the DCPs or so for any length of time. It's easy to take 2 weeks, a week and cut it down. But we are still in the public service where we have the 90 days accumulation. We don't lose leave after that. We should take it within that time. But within the holding the position of commissioner or deputy commissioner, they want you to be taking the leave. And what I should have been doing during the course of the year is be taking a week, taking 2 weeks, in order to sort of erase the number of days for the year. However, because of the situation that was existing, not just the situation with the crime going up, the murders going up, but the situation where, in the absence of having full DCPs and never at any time have 3 DCPs at my side, it was difficult and it wouldn't be wise to take leave at this time. Now, where we now have 2 DCPs in place, for the past few months, it have been myself and Earl Christopher alone being there. So now, as I have 2 new acting DCPs there, and Ms. Christopher now can take the lead, this will only be the right time now and the best time to take the leave, because basically we came to the end of the year, meaning to say I've just running into the year period, so I had to take the leave at this time.
Morning, Commissioner.
Sorry, go ahead, Paul.
Morning, Commissioner.
Morning.
Do you have a date when you're coming back out? When you're stated to come back out? Are you hearing me?
Yeah, I missed you there.
Or do you have a date when you're supposed to come back out after the 35 days?
Right, that will be somewhere around the 20th or so of January.
Okay, great. I'm going to ask you a really strange question, but it is meant with the greatest of respect. You're coming out when the Police Service Commission is supposed to give us a sense of what this list to be sent to Parliament is, and you've offered yourself a consideration. Why do you want this job?
I didn't get you. Why I'm on the job?
Why do you want the job?
Why do you want the substantive job of commissioner?
That is a difficult but yet a question that I wouldn't really want to answer it on air per se. But at this stage where we have this situation with a high level of criminality in Trinidad and Tobago, and looking at my level of experience, expertise, and my devotion to duty and the country, I strongly believe that at this stage, I can in fact assist tremendously and make that change that is required within our society. The police service need a high level of professionalism and need some aspect of institutional strengthening. And again, I believe that I am one of the persons who is in a position to assist tremendously, so that Trinidad and Tobago could definitely develop to be a much safer place in years to come.
That's a great answer. Two-part question. One, what do you think at this point is the greatest strength of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service? And what do you think is the most significant gap that needs to be closed? Two-part question.
Well, the strength of the police service right now is the human resource, the men and women of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. The reason why I could have gone and leave is because I have confidence not just in the DCPs and the person who is in leadership now, but you see a lot of the divisional and section commanders, the majority of them have real good leadership skills. They are good leaders. They are good commanders. They mean well for Trinidad and Tobago, and there's a lot of expertise within the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. So one of our strongest assets are the men and women in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. The majority of officers join with that level of commitment to serve this country. And also we have the support from our retirees. That is another important human resource. And during the course of the year, I tried my best to link that human resource to the present human resource. I had a whole week seminar with our retirees. I call it the best and finders of our retirees who interacting and passing on the experience, and knowledge to the younger ones, and that needs to continue because we have real good persons who have now retired, and the service needs to utilize that sort of strength to help the police service go forward.
And what do you think is the greatest gap at this point?
Well, one of the greatest gaps that we have existing in the police service at this time is really and truly organizing our human resource effectively. I think you heard me talk about in 2019 having, we had 85 vehicles, and at the end of the day, we only have 21 functioning. I talk about having the whole aspect of fleet management policy, maintenance policy. The audit report that was done in 2017, give us some super recommendations to help with the development of the police service, establishing skill banks, doing particular managerial things that we normally ignore in the police service, not realizing that the engine room of the police service and the heart of the police service is really and truly the human resource management aspect, having proper succession planning, all these things. That is the weakest area that needs significant development in the police service. So when you see the men and women at the police service out there, if that engine room is not working good, they are not getting the increments on time, there is no rotation existing in the police service, proper development taking place to the officers, what will happen is that it will reflect on our performance on the outside here. So that is the area that a lot of work needs to be done.
Now, changing gears just a bit, and I don't want to draw you into any war of words or controversy with the former commissioner, but there has been some information put into the public domain that the former commissioner purchased 2 mobile scanner vehicles or something of that sort. Can you give us any update on the status of those vehicles and if they're in use, and if not, why not?
Well, I sort of dealt with that already, and it came into my, my constructive control sometime in November last year, and we had it 2 years before that, which was being used under the control of the police service and the former commissioner. Within that year, as I developed the traffic and highway, I say traffic, highway, and crime detection department now, the highway patrol developed them. It was given to them to do the work on the roadway. They used it up to 6 weeks ago, right? And then it had some software issues, and then there were some questions in relation to OSHA issues. So the software needs to be revamped, and some work needs to be done with it. However, because of the costing and the value that we have gotten from it during the period, because even during the 2-year period and during the year period that it was used under my stewardship, we were unsuccessful in using it to detect anything at all. And then it is costing us 1.8 million every month, in costing. So there was negotiation between myself and the CEO of the particular company. We met on 2 occasions to discuss how best it can be utilized elsewhere, to take that burden of the police service. We only have jurisdictions on the street and things, during which part it have the customs and things. The police service don't really do that sort of thing. There is they who are in control in those areas. And, recommendations were in fact made. We got our experts to look at it. They indicated that it will be difficult for it to really do the big containers like an import, but it can, in fact, assist. And then they mentioned some of the OSHA issues in using it on the roadway with persons in vehicles. But the Ministry of National Security actually took over, because basically the contract was considered basically ultra vires in the context of a commissioner really have 1 million that he can do things with to go into contract. With not 1 million per month, but 1 million per year if you're going to any court of contract. And if you have to go above that, you must get the cabinet's approval. That is one of the contracts that the cabinet did not approve. So the lawyers at the ministry, they are dealing with that aspect of it. And efforts will be made in the meantime in where it can be diverted to help the security landscape in Trinidad and Tobago. So Senior Superintendent Meister and his team were actually the user of it, and the persons there were specially trained to use it. And you'll hear Meister spoke about it, and he mentioned that during the period of their using it from November last year up to, let us say, probably October this year, they were unsuccessful in detecting anything with it. And 2 years before that, using it, it was the same situation. So, as a lead of the police service, you're an accounting officer, and you need to account for the financing, and then, there are basic things that the officers need, like bulletproof vests, the right uniform and all the other things.
Is it that these devices were fitted onto existing police cars? And what is the company that they were acquired from?
No, those were particular vehicles that were in fact, I have to use the word contracted, because they were not purchased. It's from a particular entity, and it was contracted, where we have to be paying that 1.8 million.
What is the name of that company?
All right. For the purpose of, as I said, it is sub judice right now in relation to the lawyers at the ministry dealing with it. So I didn't think it's wise to mention. Right. I said it has some.
Can you share if it's a local company?
It's a local company, and it have state involvement in that company, whether it's 49% or so, but I know that it has state involvement in that company, and that is as much as I can say as much as I can say.
Is it accurate that the cost was $25 million each, or is that inaccurate? I saw that in a newspaper report.
No, well, I don't know what is the cost of the. If you are purchasing it, I know that we were paying.
But it's contracted, it's not purchased. Okay, so that report probably was zero.
We were paying 1.8 million a month to have the vehicle. That is all I
It's like a lease.
That is what was asked. And I know within that it will have the maintenance thing fitting into that and all of that, how contracts are done. But the point is that is the cost. That is the cost, and you must do.
How long has the service been paying that? How long has the TTP been paying that sum?
Since 2019, since November 2019.
Okay, Commissioner, are you the type of person to actually be able to switch off when you're on vacation, given the rule?
Yes, I as I told them, I just with some residual things right now for this morning, and I have to switch off. and rest myself. It is very, very important to do that and have your, mental health is crucial in order that you can have physical health. So, you need to do that. But a friend of mine called me this morning and insisted that I must have a little chat with you all. So I told him, no problem. You all have been treating me well for the year so far. So I felt it would have been difficult not to really respond, because relationships is very, very important.
I fully agree with that, and I am not someone who disagrees with you going on vacation. The length of time, well, you have to know how long you could take, but I think anyone who is under that kind of pressure must take a break sometimes for one's mental and physical health. It is impossible to continue going at that rate, given the job on the roll, in my opinion, without breaking down and not being able to function optimally.
But this appeared to be the right time because remember during the year, it's at few occasions I really had 2 DCPs working with me. And in the last few months, I had just Miss Christopher and myself, sharing the burden and managing things. Yes, thank God to our middle managers and our commanders. But now as we have 2 DCPs now in place, and we were sort of kind of coaching them and mentoring them in the meantime, in place, it was, and I had to take the leave. It was only the best time. Normally we don't wait.
Who should be calling in your absence for interviews?
Ola Christopher?
DCP Ola Christopher, okay.
Yes.
As they say, woman is boss right now.
Well, that if you look all over the world, you will see that, and we need to give each other support. And as I said, with my meeting and my commanders and section commanders yesterday, about 35 of them, I reminded them to continue and to give out all the necessary support, And as I said, I know deep within the police service and a lot of we have real good persons, real good commanders with skills and ability within the police service. And they just have to step forward and provide the necessary support. The police service is only judged on the murder figures, but, as I mentioned yesterday to them, I say, you look at the situation in Jamaica, where, they don't cost 1,421 murders, and they have to call again a wider state of emergency. Things in Trinidad and things could have been worse. Don't be daunted, hold the rein, continue the fight, be relentless, continue. We have to arrest persons who are responsible, charge them, put them before the court. We have to lift our presence out there. We have to do all that is necessary. But also, we need to support the measures to deal with the core causes of crime and deviant behavior in the society. Because we, the police, we are the tail end. But we have to go at the front end and also to assist. And I think I did well to bring the nation to that understanding that it takes really all of us approach in order to deal with the situation. And no police service or no group of persons will do that. It takes all of us to do it. And I got all the support from all these various NGOs, state-based organizations, I mean to say the ministries who came forward, and now we have set up good platform and springboard to go forward and really and truly do the work and to impact on the lives of young people within the society. So that has to keep on going. We will not, and we cannot shoot ourselves out of the issues and the problems that we are in. It takes that sort of approach to deal with the situation.
Commissioner, enjoy your vacation.
Definitely.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. And I will tell you.
Merry Christmas. Bye. We won't talk to you before Christmas. And Happy New Year to you.
But we will. We have to go buy him for black cake and sorrel and punch and crème.
No, Steve, I don't be begging for food like you. Enjoy your
Ham
vacation.
and cookie.
Things. And
Yeah,
we'll see you before Christmas.
Yeah, and don't worry about the naysayers and things. Let us be positive people so that positive things will follow. And you all enjoy it and enjoy the entire season. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. All the best to you and your family during the season. Merry Christmas and all the best for 2023. And we'll chat with you next year.
Yeah. Until Paul continue asking you hard questions.
Look him right there. Tell him, Paul.
It's my job to ask the questions for transparency and accountability. Enjoy your vacation, Commissioner. Thank you.
All the best to you. Unwind. All righty. Take care. Thank you again.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right.
Recording stopped.
Yeah. Let me just sign up my vacation leave form here.
$1.8 million. It's revelations. $1.8 million to lease 2 vehicles, and they have software issues now. 2 scanner vehicles. I'd like to know the name of that company. I'm going to do some digging.
Dig, man. You dig.
I have different avenues I can ask questions. I'll find out.
You find out. 1.8 million a month?
Yeah, that's a lot.
Oof. Jeez.
I need to find out that. It's a nice deal. We could get it.
I know. You know, let me go and get some pickup, yes? Some vans and lease it out.
And I understand why and I have a suspicion I know where the company is, but I don't want to say until I confirm.
Oh, confirm.
I understand why the place is a lot quieter now in some regards. You don't hear from some people again at all. 7:41.
Yeah, I'm thinking now.
Don't hurt yourself.
Sorry, too late. All right. We got some time as we head up towards our 8 o'clock news.
Let's take some calls.
What's the numbers, Paul?
222-TALK, 222-8655, 612-8655, and
Stop,
something, 1099.
Just stop. 222-8255, 612-8255. And toll free, North Americans, 866-525-1099. That's our numbers directly into the studio. Of course, don't forget our message board via our mobile app, or you go to our website at power102fm.com. All right? You can do that. Oh, what is this here? What is that? Oh, okay. All right. Rich will be back in a short. But we've got some calls. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Gentlemen, I am furious this morning. I am so upset with that revelation of that information that you just revealed there. And you all, oh my God. You mean to tell me that this country has been spending $1.8 million a month for the last 3 years?
Is it a month or a year?
A month.
A month, he said.
It's a month.
Yeah. Paul. So that's probably why you didn't pick up that and buy that
Let me
fight.
just confirm that with him, yes?
No, well, I bought the fight, but there's not much he could have said because it is in the hands of attorneys now, and he has to be careful.
Here the only question that you all didn't ask. When is this contract due to end?
Based on the fact that the commissioner said that discussions are ongoing with other arms of national security grid for possible deployment, suggesting that it's not going to end anytime soon.
That means they are obligated for a long period of time again. So, Is it a 10-year contract? Is it a 5-year contract? This is the question I would have liked to know the answer to. Safe and aside from that, is this? Well, I'm assuming this money coming from the Ministry of National Security budget, right? Clearly, the Ministry of National Security need a smaller budget, because if you could spend $1.8 million a month.
Well, that's not necessarily so, because the police service, the police commissioner is the accounting officer. It comes out of national security generally, but it's in the police deployment.
But what I'm saying, Paul, if you are taking that money and interject it directly into youth, and the youth are them that are committing crime, I feel that's what if you give it away to them fellas and them, is what I feel it would have significantly reduced the crime that we have been doing. as opposed
I don't know. That's I don't
That
know.
is a ludicrous line of reasoning.
no
Yeah,
result. No
yeah,
result.
That is a ludicrous line of reasoning.
that makes no sense.
I stand by what I'm saying. It have no results in the vehicle as his commissioner testified. I feel it would have served a better purpose if it had given it away to the youth and them. If it had built some houses with it, if it had fixed some road with it, if it had do something with it, as opposed to $1.8 million a month going and not one gun detected, not one ounce of weed detected, nothing. And the last time he used it was 6 weeks ago. You understand? So you're spending $1.8 million and you're using it once every 2 months, once every 3 months as the case may be. Utter madness going on in this country.
All righty. Thank you. Good morning, caller.
Gentlemen, good morning once again.
Good morning.
It seems that the police service turned out to be a very lucrative business venture for some people. Maybe over a year ago, I did some simple arithmetic. It was reported that close to 5,000 FULs were issued, new FULs. And if you use a very conservative figure of say $10,000, which is I don't think it's so small in terms of what it involves in terms of acquiring the firearm, training and so on, and it's probably more like about 15 to 20 to be more accurate. You realize that over 50, our industry was created where $50 plus million was injected into the firearm business. Between $50 and $100 million went into that whole system. It didn't go into one person's pocket or anything like that. But you understand what a simple calculation is about in terms of when you do the multiplication. Not to mention all we know that the police service has to get with the times and technology has to increase and so on, and there's a cost to it. But just imagine what it is, that the things that we don't know about. Just imagine that. Have a good day, gentlemen.
All right, buddy.
Well,
Thank
the
you.
Commissioner of Police did indicate that the company that had the contract is 49% owned by the state. So I want now, I'm just assuming.
My calculation put it at $64 million and counting.
Yeah, but my assumption here is that it's probably TSTT, but I mean, he didn't indicate who it was. But I can't think of many companies that the state has 49% in that comes to mind.
But the competence with Richard to acquire scanner mobile machines. Now, it don't have to be TSTT at all.
No, it doesn't.
$68.9 million and counting.
Yeah.
Somebody eat a good food and according to the commissioner, has not borne any fruit.
But it hasn't. Well, but that's what he's saying.
It's 3 years and running.
Yeah. So you would want to. What is the value of retaining that asset if it's not?
Yeah, it's no value so far. Well, the value is somebody eat a food.
If it's not contributing to lessening the crime or detecting crime in some tangible way.
And he also said he didn't go into detail.
It better be to have purchased it rather than to have, leased it. But I don't.
Or purchase something else that was going to work.
Yeah, we have a call, gentlemen. Good morning.
Good morning. I don't think that the amounts went up that. First of all, I agree with what Richard is saying that TSCT seems to be the primary target. I don't know of any other company that has state involvement to that extent that would be in this sort of a technological that let me put it this way. I don't know of any other company that would have state involvement to that extent that would have the kind of expertise that the TSCT the TTPS could justify a sole select tender like this. I don't know. That's the first thing. So
it's not necessarily TTPS justified as sole select tender. It's a person.
But having said that, right, the other thing is, I don't think, this is just personally me, that Gary Griffin had that kind of cojones to spend 25 point something million a year on without going to the cabinet. I think what
But the commissioner just said it did not achieve cabinet approval.
No, I'm not saying no, but what the commissioner said was that it didn't achieve, instead of going, what I got from what the commissioner said is that, this might have been like on a month-to-month arrangement. So that the way they kind of did it was that they say every time the contract comes up, right, it's like a 1.9 million. And it's like, oh, well, that's not too far over my limit. But in aggregate, it's a lot. So that's how I think they kind of sidestep the whole question.
Well, there were also comments in the public domain by state officials that a lot of the time, what happened to circumvent that requirement for cabinet approval, anything over 999,000, just below the million. This is what people have done in the past. They have broken it up and disbursed it on an accrual method and tried to circumvent that, but that doesn't negate that you went against the principle of what the regulation is about.
Exactly. So it could very well be that it's 900,000 per vehicle, and it's two separate month-to-month contracts. And then somebody is saying, oh, well, that's perfectly legal, because every month a new bill comes in for 900,000, and that's below my limit, and then, we go about from there. So in that context, I think, well, as soon as this commissioner comes in, I would imagine that there's no sort of there's no penalty, if you will, for leaving a contract early in that sense, because the contract is on a monthly basis.
Well, it's the way you state the contract and the disbursement technically irregular, but really and truly, you know what you do.
No, yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying totally. So I don't. Yeah, that to me. The other major thing though, which I think needs to be sort of highlighted, because it hasn't been really reported in the media otherwise, is that this hasn't had for the 3 years that thing has been in the country. 2 years it's been in use with the previous commissioner. And
it's a lame duck.
It's a lame duck. That's what it is. There's no.
It's a $70 million lame duck.
That's exactly what it is, and I think to me that is the main story here.
That is the issue here.
That is in fact the issue. I agree. That to me is the issue, because people coming out and they're jumping out and they're saying all sorts of different things, and it could have done this.
Let me tell you what the response is going to be. If I wasn't let go and if I wasn't in charge, I'd make it work. Am I wrong?
That's itself.
Them don't know how to use it.
If
I was still in charge, I'd make it work. I didn't have enough time to make it work.
Or it was sitting, it was wherever it was. The fact that it didn't work, but it still kept crime down, Yeah, absence of evidence, not evidence.
Somebody ate a food. A big food. And are still eating a big food.
Thank you, caller.
Yeah.
All right. Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
I'm a bit surprised at this the issue with the payment for the scanners for these vehicles, that it comes as used now. And I can recall there was a dispute between the then sitting commissioner for this, and I believe it was the Minister of National Security at that point of time, where they raised the issue in terms of his different opinion as to how much money is allocated to, and use ball as a matter of semantics, right? In terms of he's only allocated a budget of $1 million, right? But he took it to $1 million per month. And in any event, it had crossed the his remit as the accounting officer. So I guess we will see how it goes there. To say it's sub judice, and we'll see how it evolves as it goes.
Is it sub judice? It's in the hands of lawyers.
It's just in the hands of lawyers.
It's just in the hands of lawyers. It's in no quarter time about.
Well, that's what I.
He said it's in the hands of lawyers. He didn't say it before the courts.
He said the term sub judice, but it's a wrong term in the context of if it's not before the court. It just means it's under investigation.
Yeah.
So you could say, well, look, I prefer not to comment on it because it's currently under investigation, and I don't want to affect that investigation in any way. So
Precisely.
I think that's what he really meant.
Josh, let me tell you, jeez. There's a piece of information that the subcommittee of the Joint Select Committee on National Security got yesterday on the tour of the ports that I cannot divulge, that will come out on Wednesday coming. That will also shock many people. All you do is shake your head and scratch your head and just
Jeez.
Now the civil libertarian in me, in terms of I'm the civil liberties person in me, has grave concerns that the police can just drive alongside you and scan your car.
Richard, that's against the law.
So
To intercept communication, you have to go through a process of applying to is it a magistrate or a judge? Under the Interception of Communication Act.
It's a judge, I can't remember exactly. But
so if they were doing that, they were breaking the law.
Because your due process and you should have a reason, substantial reason to target X or Y or Z. If it
and
is
be given legal permission
to do so.
To so do. Okay? My understanding of the law is that, okay, unless you are in a prison compound or a perimeter of the prison compounds in Trinidad and Tobago, or you have been given that permission to intercept that communication through legal means. You can't just pull up on anybody and listen to the call just so. That is against the law. Somebody is telling me no. I ain't know about that.
Know what?
That you could pull up in a car, in a scanning vehicle and listen to calls or intercept communication. Or is it scanning for contraband and guns? Or is it X-ray scanning?
I think it's X-ray scanning. I don't think it's.
Okay.
I don't think it's an issue of listening to. I don't think it's an issue of listening.
Right, and also there's also a concern with that because I don't know that it's safe to scan a vehicle with X-rays with occupants inside that may not expose them to harm. I don't know what the parameters of the vehicles are or the X-ray strength.
Some level of probable cause for why you need to scan a vehicle. It cannot be, and at least we cannot live. At least I don't want to live in a society.
Yeah, you're right, but the same principle applies. You're right.
Where the state can just scan any vehicle that passes, unless you are electing to be scanned because you're entering some secure premises, so you're subject to search. For example, if you're going through an airport, you are agreeing to be scanned because you know that's the process.
But in principle, you're right. But the law may be silent on that. The law specifically speaks to the law may be silent on that.
But certainly that's where it needs to go. If you're implementing these kinds of issues, you should have some probable cause why I need to scan that vehicle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But because the law is silent,
you can't just decide you're pulling up next to any vehicle and
there's no law against it.
So it's
the law is silent and that's how they do it. But you're right. People should be able to scan you just so.
Yeah, it needs some level of process that
oversight.
Yeah, with regard to your constitutional rights and issues, your right to privacy, all of those issues.
Yeah, there are a lot of rights that are coming to question there. Never the things you find out in this country.
But above all of that, beyond all of that, and those are issues of arguments with regard to what your civil liberties are. What the constitutional rights are. Is it constitutional to do X, Y, and Z, which is something courts will eventually determine. But overarching all of that is that the commissioner said nothing was achieved.
Yeah, I said a $70 million lame duck.
Yeah, that's what he's saying? That nothing was achieved over the period that they have.
It acquired no credible intelligence.
Yeah.
So you're driving around scanning people's car and you still ain't get nothing. And it cost the state so far $70 million, $1.8 million a month. And you wonder why you can't get CCTV body cams. Body cams. And you wonder why you can't get vehicles to respond to crime.
And there's another story today that doesn't connect it directly, about the state and TSTT in an argument over CCTV cameras and multi-million-dollar contracts that were given out, and that the CCTV cameras the footage is unusable, it's not clear, it's blurred. Now, I just kind of precede, I just read the opening two
What is the magic word there?
What, eat a food?
What is the magic word there? You said it's unusable, right?
Yeah, unusable and blurred.
What is the magic word? Or the magic acronym, TSTT?
Well, which is so, what is it? So you spend millions of dollars putting up CCTV cameras and nobody checked the specs to make sure that it was usable? Or what's causing it to be not usable? And assuming that all of this is true, it's how can we make such big errors and bungles in a country where crime is the number one concern for citizens, and the budget allocates, in some years the biggest portion of the budget has gone to national security, and in other years it's the second biggest. And so, and you'll be spending money and we're not getting results from it. Well, obviously we're not, because we had the highest murder rate ever. So for all of the money that we are pouring into national security, from a generic perspective, we're still not seeing the tangible results. It's crazy.
Well, again, when square pegs are put into round holes and people feel that they're the own king of their own private hidey holes and they could do what they want.
I don't know. But 1.8 million a month is
for both, huh?
It's special.
All right, gentlemen, I got to pause. We got to run into our news brief. Of course, our news brief to 8 o'clock on this, the 8th day of December, powered by Champlain Auto Services.
This is your news bulletin from Power 1.